Hi, it's Nancy welcoming you to Garden Scroll. I think Garden Scroll is the only place you can go right now in the heat without you can be in the garden without being in the heat. But I've had to be in it quite a bit to get it ready for you. But I hope you enjoy it on today's Garden Scroll. The joys of a summer garden, the heat, the wind, the insects, the fatigue on the gardener. Pretty little rose blooming this morning. That a lot of my little plants are looking like this, and they're just hating the effects of summer as much as I do. There are some little seedlings coming up in here, but I think these are celosias, and I think they'll be much too tall to be right there in front of that little girl's face or that little angel's face. And I like to see her, so I'll probably pull those up. I was hoping that my little hosta would take over that spot. Today is June the 16th, 4 days before the actual date that summer comes on the calendar. And I'm already in a heat funk. Look at these beautiful double hibiscus blooms this morning. Aren't they great? But like I say, I am struggling with the heat already. A couple of years ago, I guess it was, I kind of got overheated and got sick. And for some reason, I've never been able to handle the heat since then very well at all. I do stay out here as long as I can, and then I go in, but I'm so wiped out that I'm worthless for anything else the rest of the day, and it just gets so discouraging. So I guess I'm going to whine a little bit on this. I may whine all summer. Oh my goodness, I hope you don't have to hear me whine all summer. But the plants are looking, some of them are looking great. You can tell the growth on them. And one thing I wanted to show you was that some of my little plants that I wondered, well, is it even worth saving these in the window? But look, this one. This is a Mexican flame vine. And I think it'll come right on up that trellis. Look how healthy it looks now. I don't know if you remember what a little sparse thing it was, and I thought, I don't think it's going to make it, but luckily it did. Excuse me. And then right down here, this is one of my little window items, and it's beginning to look so healthy and beautiful. And I didn't find one of these kind this year, so if I hadn't saved it, I wouldn't have had one in my garden. There are several that I didn't have in my garden, though, that I didn't find either. But one of them is the stained glass plum. I did find some seeds, and I planted them, and that's another thing. I finally did get around to planting my seeds, but I haven't seen a lot of them come up yet. This is the little cactus my sister gave me, and I'm killing it. It looks so much like I'm killing it. I hope it picks up and goes, but I just don't know. And if you remember the other cactus that I had, I showed you, it was looking so terrible. I thought it would die, but look at it now. Isn't that gorgeous? It's got bigger leaves than it had before on there, and they look so good. One thing, I had it in the sun, and it's not a sun cactus, it's a shade cactus. So once I learned that and put it back over here under the porch, it's been doing well ever since. So I put the one that Kathy gave me over where it gets some shade now too, so I'm hoping that it will make it, but I know that it may be too late for it. Look at this beautiful double petunia. I love these so much. They're so beautiful, and they seem to do better for me than the regular hybrid petunias do. Look at this coleus. It's called Dipped in Wine, and it's just so beautiful. And that's a little trailing vinca there beside it. This one's beginning to fill out quite a bit too, and it's just a penta, a ivy leaf geranium, and back behind there is another coleus. So I think it'll grow on up and come up where you can see it more and add to this little pots arrangement, and I think it'll be beautiful. But there were many of my little starts that I had in the windows that did not make it, although this one's beginning to come out of it. There's several there beside it that didn't make it. You can see there's a stem of one right here. Oh my, it's got some green on it that I didn't know it had. So hey, we'll see. This one here beside it, this is the one that it's just not making. I don't think any of my Plectranthus made it, that were these. I don't want these here. They're just a little too invasive. They're very pretty though, but anyways, I hope that this Plectranthus, I may have to look for some in the fall when it starts blooming, and the nurseries may get it back at our Walmart nursery anyway. Most of the nurseries are all closed down for now until spring comes again. I put some seeds in this little pot here, but as you can tell, I don't know. They may just not have came up yet, but they also may not be going to come up, so we'll just have to wait and see on that. I miss my tree that was here. I'll just have the stump now, but it shaded things, and I don't know where to put some of this stuff anymore. This needs to have some shade, which it does get a little from our neighbor's tree later on, but you know how I wish it got some good shade here. But one day I'll put another tree in this area. This is a little balloon flower that's blooming, and these are so cute because they actually kind of like blow up like a balloon before they burst open, like a beautiful blue daisy. I wanted to put some little coleus starts for color in this little pot, and I may get two still, but I don't know. We're definitely going to have some cooler weather than this to try to start little starts. But I'm hoping that I do get two. If not, I'll try in the fall. And these weeds are still hiding from me. I've pulled up so many, and yet they seem to find a spot where they don't show, and then I need to get rid of them, but I finally see them. Sometimes it takes until they get a seed head on it that sticks up above all the other plants, but luckily I got that one out. My little seed petunias are doing great. They're coming up. The only ones that aren't doing real good are the ones that are too close together. There's so many of them. Look at this one. There's only one, and it's filled the pot out. I was looking back over some of my clips of last year's garden, and it was prettier. I have to say that it was prettier. All these pots in the back that had begonias in them were lush and beautiful, and now they're possibly dead. I hate to even say that because I'm still hoping that they'll come out of it, but it kind of is beginning to look like it's hope against hope, but we'll see still. We'll still see. I clipped back my little corn Dracaena from all the old ugly spots that when it first came out, and we had that extreme 2 days of heat in the 90s, which of course now it's in the 90s practically every day. So, but it's used to it a little more now, and it's looking pretty good. So it's still pretty, and I do think that my this pretty little foxtail fern is filling out more. It was so scraggly when I brought it out, and my voice is wanting to stop it here on me. I think it's just allergies. I know, somebody that wants to do this so badly, and I have allergies and all kinds of problems with it. Actually, this gardening has cost me a lot, because I'm sure part of it was what happened to my knees, and I guess I ended up, when I clipped some of the roses off, I think I might have hit myself in the eye with one. I vaguely remember it, but I went to the eye doctor, and I told him no, I didn't remember having been hit by anything in the eye, but as I think back on it, I remember a time when something had hit me in the eye, and I had said, and I just closed it quickly. Of course you do, because it's just a natural reaction to do so. And then I just prayed, Lord, please let that be okay. And I opened my eye, and I could see, so I thought I was okay. But after that, I also began to see a little mosquito flying around my eye at all times. It would just not leave me alone at all. And of course it was just a floater, and I began to have trouble with my eye. So it's a little bit, I don't really know how to describe it other than it kind of feels like a headache that just comes into your eye and dips in and dips out. It's not something that stays there with me, but it's not something that just totally goes away. So I've been having a few problems in that area. And I don't know, summer is hard. I just can't say it any other way. Summer is very hard on me and on the plants. But if I would just keep up my part of it, it looks to me like these little plants are trying their best to keep up their part. I did lose a few of my impatiens, and I filled them back up a little bit. And I keep using that diatomaceous earth. I do need to put some more out here right now, but I thought I would get the pictures first. And I can't believe that I still have pansies, even in this weather. I still have a few pansies trying to stay in bloom. I'm doing quite a good job of it. And I have noticed that the little plants are filling out more. I don't know if you remember how this looked, because I thought it was looking good, but you can already tell how much fuller the plants have gotten. So that's wonderful. I hope I can keep them looking lush and beautiful. But like I say, summer has only just begun. Actually 4 days away. So we'll see. We'll just have to wait and see what happens. These are some bugs that I hate because they will just kill the plant for sure. They will. I'm going to kill that one before it does, but I wanted to show you before I get too far away from them how the beautiful daylilies are looking. So pretty. They keep stuff going through this hot weather. When I don't even feel like being out here, the lilies are saying, "Come look at me. I'm only here for just a day. You don't want to miss me." And I did fill up my strawberry pot. I had lost some that I had shown you on the side, so I filled them back up again, and I hope they make it this time. It's going to be harder and harder to find any impatiens through the rest of the summer, I'm sure. But if I can just keep them going and keep the snails and roly-polies out of them, I think they're going to fill this little pot out and be such a beauty. And I'm glad that my husband helped me get it up on this little stand, because it just looks so much better when you can just really see it at more eye level. It's not actually eye level, but it's a lot closer and easier to see. Also, I wanted to show you this little Tyrinia because it's just happens to be in pretty bloom, and I don't know how long this will last in our heat either, but it's looking good right now. See that pretty little dash of blue there? That's lobelia, and it won't last for me. It never does, but it's pretty right now. It's trying, even though you can tell it's got brown on it too, but it's trying. And my little pineapple lilies are beginning to bloom. They're pretty even when they're not in bloom, but this adds a little more dash of color and interest to them that I like. And so far, I actually still have some of my Calabrachoa. This one is really looking healthy. And then this back part of this, I had something die out there. So I planted some seeds there, but I'm not seeing any coming up yet. So I'll give it a little bit more time before I give up on it. And the same with my little Bacopa that I got, my other one that died out, and I put this little scraggly one that I found at a sale out. And it was scraggly, and it still is, but it does have bloom on it, and it looks fairly healthy. If it would just go on and do great, it could fill up this pot and be beautiful, but I know I can't promise you that it will, because it may not either. And speaking of the lilies blooming, these are the big tree lilies, the tall lilies, and they're looking great, and they smell great. More of the pretty lilies. And these, whatever in the world these are, I do not know. They were called egret plants where I planted them, but then the little egret bloom only came on at one time, and then ever after I've just been getting these, and I actually thought, oh, they're going to be egret flowers again, so I ended up putting them around in several places, and they've made little colonies. Like, can you get it on here to show you? Like this one right here, and there's just several of them all around, and I want to get those up because they don't do anything more than this. This is it. They don't open up and look like a pretty little egret in flight any longer. I guess I don't know if they went back to the to the plant they were hybridized from, or what happened to them. I don't even know what they are. They smell a lot like garlic, but they're not a garlic plant. So I don't know, but I think I want to get rid of them pretty much. These I do like. This pretty little purple. I want to put more of those. I need to divide this. I needed to last fall and I didn't get around to it, but I would like to divide these and put these around where some of my orange or yellow lilies are, the daylilies, and let them bloom in with them, just because of the contrast in those colors. So pretty. And these are little small allium. And this little bush is actually my St. John's wort, and I never thought it would get this big, but it has. It's actually got a little one here beside it that I probably need to take that up and out of there before it becomes a problem and give it away to someone. But look at these pretty blooms. They really do truly look like they have a little fiber optic top on them. So pretty. And this is one of my favorite daylilies. It's a double daylily, and I believe it's called Moses' Fire. And this is a pretty little grouping with the bright President Canna, and then all these little daylilies decided to bloom together. And then right over beside them is a pretty yellow with a ruffled edge. And these are pretty, kind of a mauve colored daylily. I think I find myself going for some of the brighter colors first because they just attract my attention quicker. But I also do love the pretty pastel colors. Another grouping of the pretty orange, and I forgot the name of these, but they're very beautiful. This is a Copper King hibiscus, and you can tell it won't be long before it'll be putting bloom on. They're one of the things that bring color to the summer garden too, and they bloom later than the daylilies or the lilies do, but not that much later. It won't be long till they'll be blooming too. The pretty red perennial salvia is blooming. Not a lot, but just enough to make a little bit of color here. And behind it, not in bloom yet either, are the little wiry stems of the Gara. And this one is white, and it looks so good with this red, white and red together when it blooms together, which they probably won't do a whole lot in this heat, but this fall they will show off for you. They'll look more like a bush than a plant. Still a little bit of the clematis in bloom. And I have a little bird resident here. I think it's a sparrow. More of the pretty daylilies blooming for our scroll today. And my president clematis or clematis is blooming. Looking great. Another pretty daylily bloom. And I still have some of the white Asiatic or Olympic lilies blooming. In this little area right here, I noticed that the ground was so soft, and you can tell it's just a mold tunnel, so I did put some mold poison in there because they took out two of my peonies actually, and so I don't want that to happen again if I can prevent it. This beautiful little Calabachoa is doing great for me, gives me hope. I love that. And then this little one too is still alive. And here's another pretty bright daylily. And this too has some Calabachoa in it. It has this one. It had one on the other side, but it's already succumbed to the heat on me. So, but I do have a pretty little coleus over there, and hopefully it'll go ahead and fill in that area as it matures. And this is the purple, I think it might be called Purple Rooster Bee Balm, and there's got a hummingbird moth enjoying it. But I'm thinking about maybe when this gets a little, when it spreads out a bit, that I might put some of these purple Monarda blooms over by some of my orange daylilies, and I think that contrast would be pretty. And you have to be careful when you're doing your contrast to make sure they bloom at the same time. So I can tell these are blooming and my daylilies are blooming, so hopefully at some point they would bloom together. The little plants in this pot are struggling too, but they're still there. Even my little Calabachoa is still there, so we'll see what will happen. Wouldn't it be great if they would just fill out and be beautiful? But the summer garden is still, it's very hard. It's just like waves of heat and I guess buckets of sweat, because it's just such a hard time in the garden, hard time for the garden. I wasn't going to go down this little pathway, but I saw this. This is the spider zinnia. I mean, I do have spider zinnias, but this is a spider daylily, and I think it's so beautiful and so big and pretty. And one of the little impatiens I had in this pot has already succumbed to the heat. So I'll try to put something else there to fill that pot out a little later on. This rose moss is looking great. More of the pretty orange daylilies, and I did have blue balloon flowers growing up with these, but for some reason I lost those. I do have a little bit of the larkspur, so these two colors still play wonderfully off of each other, but I would like to get the balloon flowers growing here because they're not invasive as the larkspur, which they're beautiful, but they just want to take over. And at first I thought, well, I don't mind them growing in with everything, which I don't, but then I realized they were keeping the sun from my irises and any and everything else in their way. So, oh look, the pretty rose moss in this little container is blooming this morning. But if you can stand the heat, you can still find lots of beauty in the summer garden. I was looking at these two beautiful little purple daylilies right here, and let me take this one off, the spent one off, before I show it to you. Isn't that pretty? There's a little butterfly, I think, of him on here. this little pot, parts of it are beginning to fill out even more, and then parts of it are gone. This one and this one right here, I don't know if it will make it either. It does not looking like it's going to, but we'll see. Sometimes they can come out when the weather gets cooler if they're just kind of dormant, but a lot of times this heat just takes them out. These are some that I transplanted later on, and they didn't get a good start before the heat got them. And my little petunia pyramid, it's not looking good either. I just got it too late of start for it, but it does have some life there, so you know, I'll just keep hoping for it and see what happens. I've been trying to keep it damp, but even that's very hard to do in this weather, and I just wish I could find a good watering system, but my best watering system is my hand on a hose. So I've tried other things, as I've told you, but they just haven't worked out for me. We have Jip in our water, and it just stops up the hoses before they really get a chance. And these little daylilies are looking pretty. They have a little bit of shade. This area over here, I need to get a sprinkler or something over here where it can get more than just a little hand watering. That's the thing. It doesn't do enough good to just hand water them. It just barely gets the surface of them, and they just need more than that when the heat is on so strong. And since it's just beginning, it's going to be hard on them and hard on me. But we'll see what we can do. Look at this little Calabrachoa bloom. Isn't that beautiful? But if you go up and look at its stem, it doesn't look like it has much of a chance. But you know, as long as they're beautiful, I'm going to just enjoy them. I see my little weeping willow has actually got quite a bit of yellow going on there. I'm not sure, but it probably needs something. I hope I can get it what it needs and take good care of it. I would hate to lose it before I even realize if it's what I wanted there or not, but I think it is. It's so pretty. I love that way it hangs down, and just that romantic feel and look to it. I also wanted to mention that my husband put up my Purple Martin house for me, and actually the only reason we got this one is we were going to replace the one in front, and this one takes a round pole where the one in the front takes a triangular pole. So we still want to get another one and replace that one, just because we still have the pole and we just enjoyed it there. So we're going to put another one, even though the Purple Martins are not who comes, and I think our residents that we have right now and this one are sparrows, but I still enjoy to watch the birds. And here is where a couple of my little zinnia seeds came up. So they're the only ones I've seen so far. So I'm hoping that just because they're up doesn't mean that's all that's going to come up. But I hope some of my other ones follow suit, because I actually put them in every little bare spot I could find. So I think I'm going to go ahead and give it up and get some water started. I do have a sprinkler, so I'm going to get that started and then see what it will do for me, and come back out and do the rest by hand later on today. Please be sure to like and subscribe to our channel.